It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, who is James Stewart. James joined the programme back in April 2023, and I was very lucky to work closely with James as his success manager throughout his time on the course. I'm looking forward to diving into some questions with you, James, but before we do, please introduce yourself and give us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, my name's James Stewart. Yeah, as Abby said, I was on the Data Analytics Career Accelerator last year between April and November, and I now work as a data analyst for EasyJet, which is a low-cost airline based in the UK. I'm in the trading and revenue analysis team. So we do a lot of analysis of ticket prices, basically, seat prices.
Lovely. Thank you, James. It's nice to have you with us. Thanks for giving us your
Thank you.
time.
Yeah, thanks for being
Nice
here.
to see you again. So I'm going to delve into some questions. So James, what were you looking for in an online program, and how did the LSE Career Accelerator align with what you wanted?
So I was going to undergo a career change. I've worked in finance as a project manager for 10, 12 years, and I really wanted to change my career and move into data analytics. And I looked at lots of different courses online, and I kind of boiled it down to three things that I wanted. I wanted a course that would stand out on my CV. And to me, that meant a course from a respected institution. So the course from the LSE was ideal. It, it kind of gives that cachet to stand out on your CV. I wanted a course that gave me like guided learning. So it wasn't just me looking at articles online. It was actually guided by my success manager, yourself, by specialists in the field. And then I also wanted something where I would end up with a portfolio of my work that I could present when I go into job searching. And this course had all three of those things. And I came out with a good portfolio at the end that I could take into interviews.
Fantastic, thank you. And obviously, it's a commitment when you do come to doing something like this. And I know you and I spoke most weeks about how your time management and your other commitments, but how did you manage to juggle time with your commitments? Obviously, you're a family man. You always, in my eyes, managed this quite well. How did you do it?
Yeah, it did actually. So I think we sat down at the beginning and we kind of came up with a study plan, and we talked about the time commitment that was needed in order to get the best out of the course. And then on my side, I kind of made a structured plan. So I took that commitment and say, well, how do I fit that into my life? How do I fit that into the other commitments that I have? And for me, what worked was having a regular period where I knew I'd be working on the course. I had my weekends off mostly, so I kind of treated it like not a 9 to 5, but 5 hours every day of saying I'm going to work on the course. And I made sure I had regular breaks. I made sure I had time for my other commitments. And when I knew I was going away on holiday, I went away for a week on holiday in the middle of the course, I kind of did a bit in advance, so I wasn't running to catch up when I came away. So it's all about like being able to fit in the commitments into the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely, and a good skill to learn anyway and master. And just like you, knowing exactly what you had on during those 6 months and planning ahead is obviously very important too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And how practical is the learning?
It was really practical. So every new concept had at least one application where they had some questions where you could practice the coding itself. So there was never any kind of theory that was taught and then just left as theory. There was a lot of practical applications. And what I liked was that quite a lot of the practical applications used real world data sets. And the data sets were referenced, so you could say, okay, I'm actually working on real data, and that that really helped with my confidence, because it helped me link up what I was learning to things that were happening in the real world.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a bit more about that when we come on to the projects we did at the end as well, which was awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. So many exciting elements of this. I mean, when you started the Career Accelerator, what were your career goals, and how do you think the program helped you achieve them?
Yeah, this was something I worked on a lot with my careers advisor, Jess, as part of the course. So I identified three main goals for what I wanted out of my career change. The first one was to secure a role using data analysis within 2 months of me completing the course. And that would be at a company that matched my values. And this was something I hadn't really considered before, like what my values were when it comes to work. And it was really good that this course gave me the opportunity to think about what I wanted out of work and what kind of work I wanted to be doing, which was
Yeah.
great. And then I also had like a salary threshold that I wanted the role to be above. I'm really happy to say that I managed to hit all three of those goals and secure a role. I think I started the week after I finished the course. So it couldn't have been a better result for me. Frankly, it was great.
No, it's one of my favorite success stories, and I'll ask you for a bit more of the detail of that. But in terms of just tapping into your time and your work with Jess, like what impact did the career coach have on you achieving that progression?
Absolutely phenomenal. And that wasn't something that I had identified prior to starting the course. I'd kind of seen it in the list of things that was included as part of the course, a bit of career advice, some coaching sessions. But I didn't realize when I started how impactful that would be on me and how much I needed something like that, given the kind of size of the task that I'd set myself of completely changing my career. Aged 40, it's not super easy to do. It's a big step, but having someone like Jess there to talk about the size of the challenge, to kind of set goals and give a bit of structure to the process, and then also, this stuff about thinking about what's valuable to me in terms of the work that I want to do was excellent. It's not something I'd done before in my life, really, and I'm really happy that I was able to do that as part of this course.
Yeah, that's so great to hear, and definitely something that struck me about you from my time working with you is you always did make time for that reflection, whether it's reflection on the work that you're doing and the content, but also your kind of progression with those goals, those career goals. And I expect it's really important that you and Jess have those conversations as well, and just somebody else that's kind of looking down on you, saying, right, okay, this is what I see. What do you see, and where do you want to be with it? So
Yeah,
I'm so
definitely.
pleased.
I consider myself really lucky that I was able to do that kind of you hear the phrase transformational, but it really has been transformational in terms of my career and my life, really. So it's not just about learning Python; it's also about really big picture stuff like that as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Those soft skills that I keep mentioning as well. And one of my favorite success stories, obviously, is kind of your story demonstrates how instrumental networking can
Yeah,
be. Can you tell us a bit about your new role that you acquired after taking the program? And have
sure.
you
So
already been applying the skills? A little bit of detail for us there.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I work for EasyJet. It's the second largest low-cost airline in Europe, and I'm in the trading analysis team. So I look at data for flight seat pricing, the pricing of ancillaries. So when you buy a hold bag or extra legroom or stuff like that, is another product that's priced up. And then I also look at demand. So kind of searches for flights and where that demand is coming into the booking process. And since day one, I've been creating dashboards in Excel. They do have Tableau at EasyJet as well. I'm not working with that, but it's nice and familiar to look at the dashboards that other people have created. I've been automating stuff with Python. I've been doing a lot of presenting of analytical findings to different parts of the business. And these were all things that I learned and practiced on the course. So the course content has been super relevant to the role that I'm in right now. And yeah, in terms of securing the role, I was recommended for the role by one of my fellow learners, Elisa, who was on the same course as me. She secured the role with EasyJet a couple of months before I did. And, as we approached the end of the course, she said, hey, we've got vacancies in this team. Any advice to people joining this course, don't underestimate the value of networking with your fellow learners, not only for success in the course and, doing well to, get through the course content, but afterwards as well, because you never know who might know of a vacancy or be able to pass that information on. It's super valuable. And, I'm still in touch with other people on the course and following their career journeys after they finish their learning. So it's, super important.
Yeah, thank you. And as I said, just one of my favorites, and something that we do see throughout every cohort, or even those that have completed, kind of coming back saying, hey, I'm working for this company. I think it would be a good fit for somebody doing this course, and so on. So yeah, the power of networking, and something that you will certainly hone in on when you do the course with your career coach. Lovely, thank you, James. And then just wanted to ask a bit more actually about the portfolio, and how did your portfolio evidence that you built during the program help you when interviewing for new jobs, like demonstrating your skills? Have you found great value in that?
To be honest, I was expecting a longer job search process. So I built up, really good portfolio and kind of knew how I would present it to people. I didn't actually get to present it to anyone, but just having that portfolio there gave me the confidence when it came to talking about my skills. And that's what I found really valuable is having that body of work to show that, yes, I can do the things that would be expected in this role. And here's the evidence. And yeah, if people had asked me, I would have been able to talk at length about the stuff that I'd done and the portfolio that I'd put together. But in the end, just having it in my back pocket really helped my confidence.
Yeah, definitely. And something that our career coaches always say, which I love, is that they say, looking at your CV as a sort of leaflet that you would give out, and then your portfolio is more of the brochure that you can really dig into the details there. That's great. So obviously everybody's always very keen to know more about the Employer Project because it's very exciting, very unique. Can you tell us a bit about the industry project that you worked on?
Sure. So the project I worked on was in conjunction with a consultancy who were working on behalf of Transport for London, who were responsible for, like the name says, all the transport in London. And the idea was to look at the uptake of cycling in London. Who cycles, how often do they do it, what kind of people do it. It was quite an open brief. So we had lots of opportunity to go away and find our own data sources to do any kind of analysis we wanted to, really, and then present the results back. My team did quite a lot of demographic analysis, so looking at the types of people who go cycling and what ideas we came up with in order to promote cycling to people who might not necessarily cycle very much, and how we could increase the uptake. I thought it was great. It was a really good project. It was quite interesting personally to me because I used to live in London, used to cycle everywhere, and it was great kind of being able to pull in lots of disparate data sets and have free reign on how you process them and how you deliver that impactful message at the end. It was really good. Again, like, keep in touch, like really put as much of your effort as you can into that project, because it's really useful when it comes to job searching to be able to talk in depth about working on that kind of real world scenario.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And obviously get that exposure that maybe some people haven't had that opportunity to do consultancy type presentation to a real industry and gain those soft skills experience and confidence with that. Yeah, and your team were fantastic. I can confirm. Thank you. Now then, like looking right back, I suppose, or in reflection, what do you wish you knew before you started taking the Career Accelerator?
Oh, good question. I guess I think, yeah, don't underestimate the value of networking. So that's kind of asking for help. We had an online forum where you could post your questions. I really found that was very useful. Answering other people's questions that they've posted. What was the forum called? I forgot. Yellow Dig. That's it.
Yellow Dig,
Yeah.
yes.
And then meeting up in person, kind of jumping onto Zoom and having a Zoom call with your fellow learners. It's great, yeah, not just for getting on well with the course, but also for maintaining those networking connections into the future.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much, James. So I'm going to have a look at our lovely questions that we've got coming in. So bear with me a second. Just to note everybody as well that all of your enrolment related questions will be answered by Niels at the end, or if he's got a second, I know he's responding in the chat as well. So we've got a question here. Hi, does this program support people who are looking for a fully remote / freelance role in data analytics? How would you say in terms of that, James? Fully remote / freelance role in data analytics?
So my role is 1 day a week in the office and 4 days remote. I think that's probably going to change into the future as companies kind of mandate a bit of a return to the office. But at the moment, it fits in brilliantly with my life. There are fully remote positions at EasyJet, and there are fully remote data analysis positions out there.
For sure.
For sure. So you know, I think it facilitates getting those positions really well, because it gives you the kind of practical underpinning that you need to evidence when you go into job searching.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So, sorry, just having a read through to James. Can you please talk about the transition from established career in finance to data analytics? Did you have to take an entry position? Do you use your finance background? How was the change in your pay as a result? Thank you.
Good question. I think technically my role is an entry-level role. I did say, you know, it might be an entry-level role, but you're not getting an entry-level candidate. Thank you very much. And that did affect the offer that I was given. So, you know, you don't have to consider yourself an entry-level data analyst if you've got many years of experience in a different role. In terms of, do I use my finance background? Well, I was a project manager, so my finance background was more domain knowledge rather than technical skills, but I definitely used the kind of project management experience in my group project on the course. Yeah. And that is one of my strengths that I'm bringing to my new role. You know, I'm very used to working with different teams, to prioritizing, stuff like that. I did take a pay cut, but I wanted to be honest. And, you know, I'd reached the point in my finance career where I was willing to take a pay cut to do work that I was more excited about and that I wanted to do into the future. And I've got no doubt that in the next few years, my pay will go back up again, because the kind of skills that I've learned on this course are in demand. And and then it becomes like your experience in the company and your experience of the domain that becomes essential. So yeah, it's been a very positive change for me. I didn't view it as a negative, taking a lower paid position than what I was on before, because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So many transferable skills you mentioned as well. And I believe something that you said always resonates with me when I speak to people if they're coming from a finance background, but having that background, you know, you really understand the importance of the quality of the data and having that insight as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I did know that from my previous roles. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Everyone needs to know what the data means and have a common understanding so that you can deliver those analytical messages.
Yeah, and your presenting skills, obviously, in the employer project were fantastic, and nice that you could really bring that experience from project management into this as well, because obviously not everybody has had that exposure to presenting, and that's something that we really do teach and support you with on the course. Thank you. Just going to mark that one as done. Thank you, Alex, for your question. Lovely. What opportunities are there for networking with other learners given it is a fully online course?
There's loads. There's as much as you put in effort to make. So there's the online forum where you can post about the course content and you can ask for help. And then any of the other learners can pitch in and give their responses. We had a group WhatsApp, which I think we used more for kind of admin of, you know, when is this deadline and things like that. But then from that WhatsApp, you make connections, and I was jumping on a Google Meet video call every day with other learners to talk about the content. I found it very useful to explain things to other people because that cements the knowledge in my mind. So I was constantly jumping in and helping other people. So I found that really useful. I think people who were based in London met up in person.
Yeah.
So, and they could get a library card for the LSE library. So there were a couple of study sessions that happened in person as well. Yeah, there's loads of opportunity. And this is exactly what I wanted from the course, right? I didn't want to just work through a set of content online. I wanted to have connections with real people, and yeah, there was lots of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to note as well, obviously at the end we do tend to host an LSE celebration networking event where everybody obviously is invited if you're lucky enough to be fairly local or can make the journey in. I did have one learner come in from Dubai one year, which was fantastic, and obviously a chance to meet your fellow peers and some of the course facilitators and the coaching team as well. Great, thank you for your question. Let's have a look. Has there been any students from outside of the UK? Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't give you a percentage, but multinational cohorts all across the globe, for sure. James, I'm sure you've networked with many across the seas as well.
I think there was some learners from Hong Kong and from the Middle East as well.
Yeah.
As well as Turkey. There's a couple of guys in Turkey. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your question, Billy. So a question from Tom, does the course look at hypothetical quant data briefs that an agency might receive from a client?
So the project that we had was an actual brief that an agency had received from a client. I'm not sure about quant data, but it was something where we were expected to deliver some recommendations, some course of action at the end of it, in a way that would mean something to the end client. So from that perspective, yes, it does.
Great, thank you. We have another question. What is the portfolio a student builds over the course of the program? consisted of besides the final project?
So basically the assessment for each module, I forget what it's called, the assessment for each course
Yeah.
results in a piece of work that you can incorporate into a portfolio. So my portfolio consisted of the Tableau dashboard that I made in course one, and then there was similar for the remaining ones. So yeah, it mostly consisted of dashboards, or you could put together a document that shows your process, the analytical process, going from understanding the brief to collecting data, processing data, building a dashboard, and then presenting the results. And just having something for each of those steps is really useful because it shows you understand the whole analytical process end to end.
Yeah, and a lot of the career coaching support will really help you sort of identify and think about your existing skills as well, and mapping those and kind of how they correspond with the skills that you're learning on the course and translating that into your portfolio. Thank you. Good question. So we've got, how is the team group assigned for the external project? Was it random or performance based?
It was random. It was randomly assigned. I think we put preferences for when we could meet, because obviously different learners are in different time zones and have different life commitments. So you put that preference down. That was met for me. I think it was met for most of my group as well. So we were all able to jump on our team calls at the same time. But it was randomly assigned. So I hadn't met any of my team members before. Everyone was in the same boat. And yeah, it was really good to kind of pull everyone together and work on the project as a team.
Yeah, great, thank you. Another question, is the LSE accredited course with a certificate, and does this award an LSE alumni status upon completion? Thanks. So this course is a non-credit bearing course. Obviously you will get a LSE certificate with the details of the Data Analytics Career Accelerator on there. You will also, upon completion, get your grade transcripts, which will have kind of details of each of the course and grades and so on, and specifics within there. There are plans in the works in terms of a possible PG cert that we're working on in the background with LSE. More information will be available for that in the future. James, another question for you. Hi, James. Were there any career starters on the course, and would you recommend the course to a fresh graduate who has little experience?
There absolutely were. There were a couple of learners that I spoke to who were doing their finals at the same time as starting the course. So yeah, there were people who were fresh out of graduate school. Yeah, I can absolutely recommend it to a fresh graduate who has this experience, because this kind of bridges the gap between some of the theory you might have done in university or in college, and the experience and the projects that you would need to. It kind of gives you a step up on anyone who hasn't done these kind of practical experiences. If you can build up a portfolio and take that into a job search, then so much the better.
Yeah, I can't echo that enough. And just from my perspective of supporting learners throughout, we've obviously the career starters who tend to be fairly fresh out of studies, often can have an easier ride maybe than those that haven't studied potentially for 10 to 15 years, and having to find that discipline with time. Can sometimes be a little challenging, and those career starters definitely lead the way and share insights and suggestions as to how they tackle their studying. Good question. Hi, James. Did you have any experience in SQL, Tableau, Python, or other programming languages before joining the program?
I did. I did. I had a little bit of all of those. It's something that I've been interested in for a number of years, and I had kind of dabbled in like self-learning online a bit before joining the course. I think that meant that some of the modules I could complete a bit quicker, and I needed to spend more time on the modules where I hadn't had any experience, like in R language. I hadn't come across that before. But you know, it definitely teaches you from first principles. So for something like Python, if you've never done any coding before, this course starts from hello world. It starts from the beginning and leads you in with each new concept. You just might need to put a bit more time into the bits that you're more unfamiliar with. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly does. Thank you. Have there been any success stories where they achieve a role abroad? Absolutely. One thing to detail about our success stories is we do try and put as many as possible on our LinkedIn page. So do hop on to Forthrev on the LinkedIn page and have a look on there. So many success stories within the UK and abroad. For sure, do check out our details on there. Great. James, is machine learning covered in the course? If so, how confident did you feel undertaking a machine learning project after the course?
There was a bit of machine learning covered in the course, a bit of training. I forget the terms now because I haven't used it for 4 months. So while there is a data science function in EasyJet, that's not my function. That's not the part that I'm on. But having learnt some of these concepts as part of the course, it does give me more confidence in being able to interact with the data scientists and understand the kind of things that they're doing. Yeah, I mean, if someone gave me a machine learning project, I would feel confident at making a start, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't, yeah, the idea doesn't scare me because I've been introduced to these concepts on the course.
Yeah. And to note that machine learning is in within course 3, so you kind of would build up to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good question. Is the course suitable for return to work after a career break? I mean, I would say absolutely. Personally, I've supported many learners returning to work, particularly mums who have possibly been on maternity leave for some time and looking to get back in and bridge the skill gap and just find a new role or potential career change. Definitely something that I would say is suitable. It's for you to understand kind of what your availability is, what your days look like, what your commitment is, and really focusing on what your goal and why you want to do this, and really having that at the forefront of your mind, so that you can kind of push yourself through, because I know it can be challenging to return to doing this after a career break. Okay, let's have a look. Most of the course details and modules are available free online on YouTube and other platforms. How does doing this with LSE online help compared to the free resources given the cost involved?
Good question. I know from my personal experience, I've tried a number of times to self-learn and self-teach using YouTube and Coursera and other platforms that are out there, and I just wasn't successful. And I don't know whether it's a combination of the structure, the way the course is structured, or the fact that you're doing it in a group with other people, or the fact that you've got real people like a success manager and a careers coach and a facilitator to help you through. But the combination of those things was what enabled me to be successful using this course. And you know, different people might be different, but I am not self-disciplined enough to do it, using Wikipedia articles and things like that. It's I need something structured that I can work through, and this course was great for me.
Yeah, thank you. And just echoing what I said earlier about really looking at ways, allowing you to and empowering you to look at ways to apply your learning to a business problem, and really developing those skills at the end of each course is something that's so important, and having the platform to do that through assignments, presentations, and so on. All of the parts that you would need in terms of being a data analyst, not just the technical skills. Good question, thank you. Yes, the course is certified by LSE. Great. Having a look through. Thank you for your questions, everybody. This has been fantastic. Hopefully we are getting through them. Would you recommend this course for a person who isn't a graduate with minimal experience in coding languages? I mean, I think we touched upon that, didn't we, a little bit with the Career Starter, James?
Yeah, I think you need to at least have an interest in data. You have to want to tell stories with data and to present, and you might find that is the angle that helps you succeed in the course, because producing the dashboards is really interesting and doesn't require any coding languages. The coding languages is more to prepare the data and to join the dots along the way. But the end goal is to produce a message that you give to someone else to effect a change in a business. That's the reason for data analysis. So you have to be interested in that process to be successful. If you've never done any coding, yeah, you can learn from first principles, but you've at least got to be interested in the end result.
Lovely, thank you. Great. Do you get access to LSE Library and resources online at the London campus? So if you do apply for a library card, you will only get access to the LSE library facilities. So that doesn't involve the library content resources. Obviously, this is LSE online, but you would get access to the facilities. So if you want to go and study with your peers, you absolutely can do that. Great. Hi, James. How many students in your cohort have found a job as a data analyst, and how soon after completing the course?
So I think there were 80 or 90 people on my course. I didn't meet all of them, but obviously myself, Elisa, who recommended me, got jobs. One of my team who I was on the project with got a job in finance data before the end of the course as well. So at least 3, but I don't know the stats for everyone else.
No, absolutely. It's a tough question. I can definitely vouch it was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And we're still, so where are we now? Beginning of April. So we are still, those are still finishing off their coaching sessions that had a few left with their coaches. And we still hear success stories coming in. Learners dropping me an email saying, I've just achieved this job, which is so fantastic. So yeah, those wins keep coming through, and obviously it's about how proactive you are as well, and making sure you've done all the steps with your career coach goals and that journey. Good question. Hi James, is data science your ultimate goal, or are you happy with your current position? I wonder how the data analyst career path is different from the data scientist.
Good question. And that is something that's covered as part of the course. They go into a bit of detail on the different roles that are out there. I think it's data scientist, data analyst, and data architect is the kind of behind the scenes responsibility for data. So I absolutely see myself progressing in my career from where I am right now. I wouldn't say that data science is my ultimate goal. I think the difference between data scientist and data analyst is possibly the presentation layer on top. So I really enjoy presenting to people. You can tell, right? And kind of delivering that message. And some of the data scientists that I've spoken to really like not doing that, and really like kind of the coding and the thinking about machine learning algorithms and things like that. So there's definitely a divergence in the kind of roles that are out there. Having said that, I feel confident that if I really wanted to, I could go in either direction based on the starting point that I got from this course. So looking at the kind of things that my colleagues are doing at EasyJet with data science, I could have pursued that direction, built up a portfolio that was stronger in that direction and gone for a role in that direction. I just chosen not to. So yeah, really good question. And to my mind, the course gives you a good starting point for whatever direction you want to go.
Yeah. Thank you so much, James. Final question. I know I'm conscious of time, and there's a few I've left in terms of enrolment queries. Final question, was the course what you expected? How was the teaching delivered? Were you able to ask teachers, lecturers questions?
So I'm going to take those in reverse order. Yes, you're able to ask teachers and lecturers questions. So if you join the live sessions every week, you can ask them face to face, or you can post a text question on the forum and it will get answered by one of the lecturers. What was the second bit? I missed it.
It was, sorry, I've lost the question
how
now.
was the teaching delivered? So
Yes.
the course content is text articles. There are recorded videos from specialists and professors at the LSE. There's a lot of practical exercises to work through, which are really, really valuable. And there's also a weekly live session where worked examples are worked through live, and you can join and discuss on Zoom. Was the course what I expected? I mean, I'm obviously a massive advocate for this course, right? Like it's been great for me. I didn't know how great it was going to be for me when I started. I think the bit that surprised me the most was the kind of careers advice and career coaching that I accessed as part of the course. That was second to none. The way in which I've secured a role, and every day I'm doing something that I learned on the course. Like it can't be more relevant than that. So yeah, it's great. I'm gonna be pretty frank. Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Thank you so much, James. It's been such a pleasure to sit here and talk with you
Thanks, Abby.
and yeah, reminisce on the good times we had back in 2023. Thank you everybody for your questions. I know lots asking about stats for career outcomes and so on. So please do have a look at LinkedIn. Obviously, we are posting more and more on there, and lots of our learners that have taken the course often will post their career successes. So go and do some networking, have a little dig, and check out all of the good stuff. I will say goodbye, James. Thank you very much again for your time. This session is recorded. I will now hand over to Niels for any final enrolment related questions. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Abby and James, for your insightful responses to all the questions and into the program. So my name is Niels. I'm a enrollment advisor for the Data Analytics Career Accelerator program that we have with LSE. I'm happy to go through the questions that are left over more relating to the enrollments. If any questions come up, feel free to post them. I'm sure I'll get around to them as soon as possible. So I'll just start at the top here. Question here about what is percentage of candidates that are employed from the last project? That's actually a really good question. As most of you have heard already, the program consists of 4 4 parts, 3 courses and 1 employer project at the end of the program. Now, the employer project will be with one of our employer partners, and we do see some career outcomes through our employer project. But honestly, the majority of the career outcomes that we're seeing are through the career coaching, which is really focused on digging deeper into what you're looking to achieve from the program initially, and what's that first next role that you're going to want to land, but also look into your longer term career goals and how are you going to get there, what are the next steps going to have to be to achieve your long term goals as well as your short term goals. So even though we do see some career outcomes through the employer project, and through the alumni network, definitely as well, the majority of the career outcomes that we're seeing are through the career coaching, which is really focused on mapping out what you bring to the table currently when it comes to your experience professionally and educationally, and what you're looking to achieve, and specific characteristics of a role you might be interested in, whether it's a specific paycheck or a specific industry that you're looking to work in, or what kind of values match what you're looking for. So the next question would be, how big are the intakes? Now, we cap the amount of people that we enroll per intake at 100. And this is mainly because we really want to maintain this individual approach of individual career coaching, but also, as Abby mentioned, the individual success manager that's appointed to every one of our learners. So to maintain this and also give you the opportunity to ask individual questions to the course facilitators and to interact with your peers and the course facilitators during the live sessions, we really cap the amount of people that we have per intake. So short answer is 100, and this is because we have this individual career coaching and individual success managers, really ensuring that you not just reach the end of the program successfully, but also to make sure that you actually achieve the goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the program. As it is it's a financial and it's a time commitment, so it's great to be sure that you're actually going to achieve what you're looking from the program. Now, what % of graduates secure a job after the course? It's a really good question. The answer is going to be a little bit longer because there are many people like James that are looking for a career change on the program, but there's also quite a few people that are looking more at a career advancement or purely looking to implement these skills more within their current role. So when it comes to securing a job after the course, we see a high percentage of our learners achieving their career outcomes from the program during the program, or like James, shortly after the program has been completed. But when it comes to people that we usually enroll, around 20% of the people that we enroll are looking to kickstart their career with data analytics. So they'll be more at the beginning of their career. And then 80% of the people that we enroll are looking for either a career change or a career advancement. And these are kind of split 50-50 in between those. And obviously, if the people are looking to implement these skills more within the current role, you're not going to see a career outcome from that directly. But the career changes, we do see a very high percentage of success there. I believe it's close to 80% success rate in the first 3 months after the program has been completed. Yeah, I see the meeting link has also been posted in the chat. I can definitely advise that if you have more questions relating the program, and I'm still going to go through the questions that have been posted in the chat. If you have more questions, or if you are interested in the program, or if you're still considering multiple things, then feel free to just book a call with your enrollment advisor through the link that has been posted in the chat, or through the emails that you've probably received from your enrollment advisor. Might have been from me or from one of my colleagues. Always happy to connect. It's a big decision to make. There's a lot of things to consider. So it's always great to connect with your enrollment advisor and talk about your specific situation and how that might align with what the program actually offers. If it does, if it aligns with each other, great. If it doesn't, then that's also something to be honest about and look into different things to explore. Regardless of where you're at in your decision-making process, it will always be beneficial to book a meeting with your enrollment advisor. So I can definitely recommend to do that as soon as you can. Now, I did answer some questions already through chat. One of them was about the start dates that we have. So our first next start date is actually April 22nd. After that, we'll be offering the program once more on July 8th and October 14th. So we offer this program 4 times a year. So there's if now is not the best time for you, there's always a other intake coming up. Now, in addition to that, because of the success that we're seeing through the career coaching that we're offering, seeing that most of our people actually achieve their goals from the program, we're quite confident in what the program offers and the outcomes of it, which is why we're currently also offering anyone that's looking to join our April 22nd intake unlimited career coaching sessions until you actually achieve the career goal that you set for yourself at the beginning of the program with your career coach. Now, granted, this does have to be something that's realistic and matches with your experience educationally, professionally, and where you're looking to head next. But it is a really great gesture, and it's quite unique in that sense that you'll have a very solid guarantee that you're actually going to achieve what you're looking for from the program. Now, to benefit from this, we were actually offering this up until the 1st of April, but we can extend that as as a token of gratitude of joining this webinar. We can extend the deadline for that up until the 8th of April for anyone that's attended this webinar. So if you are interested in that, just book a call with your enrollment advisor. They'll walk you through the application process and what the additional career coaching sessions would entail. They would be happy to walk you through that. Now, getting back into the questions here, the admins, the online brochure mentions that starting in 2024, a bonus generative AI masterclass has been added to the course. How does one need to sign up for this masterclass? So just signing up to the program, you will be able to attend this masterclass in generative AI. And it is not an official part of the program in the sense that you would be graded on it through an assignment, but it is part of the program as a sort of additional learning. And you'll see that throughout the program that it is a very complete package of skills that you acquire on the program to step into a full-on data analyst role if you'd like, although many people that we enroll do like to combine these skills with previous work experience and educational experience. But the skills that you acquire will be very much applicable in those situations, but there will always be extra learning as well, as you're never done learning. And yeah, and you'll have the opportunities on the program as well. So the generative AI is part of that, and there'll be ample time to ask more questions to the course facilitators as well if you want to know more about any things that aren't directly covered on the program on how to get into those, as it is a very solid foundation to get into many other avenues when it comes to data science and data analytics.